Hello everybody, and welcome to a video that has nothing to do with transfers. Oh my god! Yes! That has what this channel has been over these past few weeks, it has to be said, but we're doing something completely different today. We are going to be going back to a video that I did last year, and we are going to be looking at 10 Charlton Academy players that could be involved in the first team this season, and we're just going to go through them, discuss what they did last season, take a little dive into their statistics, and then we will be talking about how likely they are to break into the first team. Now, of the 10 players on this list, 5 of them are currently in Ben Garner's squad for the pre-season campaign. 5 of them have been involved, so that kind of gives it away. The other 5 haven't been involved in the team whatsoever, and we will begin at number 10. And I have decided to go for our third choice goalkeeper, Nathan Harness. Obviously, he was out of contract at the end of last season, and we've decided to give him a new 1-year extension. Now, I do find that quite an interesting decision, even more so from when we've loaned out Ashley Maynard-Brewer, obviously, to Gillingham, where unfortunately he has suffered a dislocated shoulder, so hopefully he does recover from that very soon. But in terms of Harness, obviously, he didn't play an awful lot of games last season. He only featured once in League One. That, of course, he had to come in due to McGillivray. He was either ill or he contracted COVID, and we decided to play Harness over Henderson on the final day of the season against Ipswich. Wasn't exactly the greatest debut for him to make it at League One level. We did lose the game 4-0. I don't really blame him for that, to be honest with you, because it was his first game. We can't go too harsh on him there. He did play 5 times in the Papa John's Trophy as well, so had a pretty good campaign there in between the posts as we made the quarterfinals, obviously ending not so great, losing to Hartlepool. And he also played 6 times in a loan spell with Dulwich Hamlet. So he did get some minutes here and there last season, but he does seem like a pretty decent shot stopper, and only young as well at 22, so he's still got a long way to go in terms of his development as a goalkeeper. Now, obviously, in terms of the goalkeeper situation, obviously it was reported that we are looking to listen to offers for Craig McGillivray, and we have recently just brought in Joe Walcott, so that of course would leave Harness as our second choice goalkeeper if McGillivray is to be moved on. Now, I do think Harness needs to get some minutes this season, whether it means he goes out on loan, this time to maybe the National League. I don't think he's quite ready for the step up to League One just yet. However, I think he could learn a lot from the keepers that are ahead of him, and I also think a loan spell could do him quite well. Coming in at number 9, I have gone for Nazir baccarin. Now, baccarin, again, like Harness, has not been involved in the pre-season friendlies so far, but from what I have seen from him, again, I've really liked the look of him. He formed a pretty decent partnership with another centre-back that you'll see later on in the video. Probably gives away who that is. Baccarin, I felt, had a really good partnership with that centre-back. He seemed quite dominant, quite strong, quite tall, big presence in the defensive line. I think I watched him, I think it was in last season's development semi-final. Baccarin hasn't broken into the first team in terms of league football just yet. He has played a couple of times in the Papa John's, playing twice last season, and he is only 19, so he's still very, very young. Now, I've singled him out because I do think he can potentially do a job at this level. I suspect he'll probably be playing under 23s football this season. Obviously, we've got a number of centre-backs already in that position. Now we've got Owen O'Connell, and we've just signed. We've got Sam Lavelle, Ryan Innes. We've got the other centre-back who you will find out soon. You've got Sean Clare, who can play that position, and even Stephen Sessignon could feature in that position as well. So Baccarin is quite far down the order, but there's definitely potential there, in my opinion anyway, from what I've seen from him. And like I said, I do think he looks quite comfortable, quite composed on the ball, very dominant, likes to get stuck in with the challenges. Now, coming in at number 8, we have a player that had an absolutely storming season while on loan last year in a very disappointing campaign for the team he played for, as of course they did end up getting relegated. The club in question was Billericay Town, and the player in question was, of course, Dylan Gavin. He had a really impressive spell at Billericay Town in the National League South in what was a very disappointing season, as they did end up finishing rock bottom. However, in that time, he managed 6 goals in 16 games. It seemed like he was scoring like every week. I'll be refreshing the timeline on Twitter, and I'll be seeing Billericay, Dylan Gavin has scored. I'll be like, bloody hell, he's really making a name for himself there. One of the goals he scored there, by the way, was an absolute rocket, an absolutely unbelievable effort. I think it was on the half volley from about 35, 40 yards out, just loops over the keeper and goes in. It was an absolutely stunning goal. And yeah, Gavin really made a name for himself while there. Yes, obviously it's the National League South, and yes, he was playing for a team that come bottom of the league, but still, it is a very good loan spell for him. I was probably expecting him to go out on loan again. I doubt Billericay will sign him again. We'll obviously want to develop him a bit further and send him out maybe again to a higher team in the National League South or even to the National League. Yeah, Gavin, again, probably like Baccarin and even Nathan Harness as well, are still very unproven when it comes to the professional game. But hopefully with a bit more development, Gavin, it can come good and he can slowly but surely make his way into the team, whether it be in Papa John's games or just cup matches in general. At number 7, we come to another defender, but this time has actually played a fair few games already for the club at a professional level. And that, of course, is Charlie Barker. Now, I must admit, I don't really know what's happened to Barker because he seems to have just disappeared off the face of the planet. I remember him during our season where we were absolutely in pieces. What was it? The 2020-21 season. Just before Sangard took over the club, we were obviously having to play Barker in the team because we were under a transfer embargo at the time. I think we was under a registration embargo as well. So our team was mainly filled up with our academy players. Barker was 17 at the time. I think his natural position is centre-back, but he can play quite comfortably at right-back. And in the 3 games that he played at League One level, he genuinely looked like he'd been playing in League One for years. You know, he looked so comfortable at that level, so composed on the ball, wasn't afraid to get stuck in with a challenge. Of course, scored a goal in the Carabao Cup against Swindon. And Barker also had a loan spell last season in the National League with Wealdstone. Among a fair few of our youth academy players actually went to Wealdstone, Barker being one of them. But yeah, I don't really know what's happened to Barker because I do really like him. I do rate him a lot, and I would have thought he would have been, you know, integrated into the first team a lot sooner. I mean, obviously, he was part of the team in 2020-21. I felt he looked quite good, and to be honest with you, I'm quite surprised, like I said, that he hasn't been involved in the first team that often anymore. But I suppose the academy are just looking to develop him a bit more in the under-23s. Definitely do see a player there. I do see a player in Barker, and hopefully he can get some minutes this season, whether that be in cup matches. But yeah, I'd probably say it's unlikely he breaks into the first team this time round. Moving on to number 6, and we have another player that actually spent last season on loan with Wealdstone. I, of course, refer to Charles Clayton. Now, we spoke about Clayton in last year's video as well. Clayton burst onto the scene in pre-season under Nigel Adkins, and I thought he looked really, really impressive. You know, direct, fast, you know, had a good cross on him. You know, I like to take players on. Obviously featured a couple of times at professional level last year. He played 2 times, I think, coming off the bench last season under Nigel Adkins. I remember him coming off against Sheffield Wednesday. Featured 4 times in the Papa John's Trophy, getting himself 1 assist. I remember he nearly scored in the 6-1 game against Crawley, which he really should have done better, to be honest with you. And then at Wealdstone, along with Charlie Barker, he played 18 times there at National League level, scoring 1 goal and 1 assist. So not the greatest return in terms of goal contributions, kind of tells you that there's a bit of a final ball problem there. But again, like Charlie Barker, I do think there's a player there. Now, like I said in pre-season friendlies, Clayton has been played in the fullback position. I watched yesterday's pre-season friendly against Colchester. I was actually there that night. Really good night, by the way. Really enjoyed myself and a really good game to watch, watching us win 4-2. I watched Clayton play that position and I could tell straight away that left-back was not his position. And I do hope that that isn't the position we're going to play him if he is going to get regular minutes, because I think Clayton is naturally a wide man. Obviously, we do have competition in the squad, you know, in terms of wingers. We've got Jai Simi, we've got Blackett Taylor, we've got Charlie Kirk. Potentially as a wing-back, Clayton could maybe do a job there, but I think naturally his best position is out wide and further forward, pushing forward, because like I said, he is quite direct. He likes to take players on. He can swing a decent ball in the box. Remember, he linked up quite well in pre-season last year with Hadi Gandor. But yeah, Clayton again, I think he's one to watch. I think he's still relatively young at 19 or 20, I think, maybe 18, I'm not sure. But he is very young and up and coming. Naturally, I can't say that left back is his position. I've watched his game, watched the Colchester game, and I saw straight away that wasn't his position. But hopefully, for his sake anyway, he can get involved in the first team and play in his natural position. Now we jump into the top 5, and these are some very impressive names. Now, coming in at number 5, we come to Lucas Ness. Now, of course, Ness has been involved in the pre-season campaign this year. He went off to Spain in the pre-season training game, obviously played against Kilmarnock, he's obviously played against Dartford, and yesterday he played against Colchester. Now, I must admit, when I've seen him play, again, he looks really good and he does really look impressive. I think naturally he is a left back. I think he is left footed, but he's been playing at right back as well. So he is quite versatile, can play on either side of the fullback positions. The same with Stephen Sessignon. You know, Sessignon came on last night and was playing left back. So it's nice to have those fullbacks that are very, you know, versatile and they can play on either side of the fence. Now, in terms of Ness, I don't think he played an awful lot of minutes professionally for Charlton. I think he played once in the Papa John's. However, he did go out on loan and played 13 games for Hampton and Richmond Borough. I'm not entirely sure what league they're in. I think they're in the National League South. But from what I've seen of him, I have been really impressed with Ness. And it does seem, with him being involved in the first team pre-season campaign, I'm assuming that Ness is involved in Ghana's plans, and Ghana is looking to integrate him into the first team. Of course, Ness signed a new contract at the end of last season. You know, he's obviously very highly rated by the academy and the club. So hopefully he can get himself involved in the first team this year, whether that be he comes off the bench a couple of times or even starts. Obviously with Mandela Egbo's injury, that he's obviously been bumped up the pecking order a little bit. And now coming in at number 4, this one, to be honest with you, blows my mind. Not in terms of like he's a bad player, but in terms of the fact that he's not been involved in the pre-season campaign at all, especially judging off the season that he has just come off. I am, of course, talking about Daniel Kanu. Now, I seriously do think this could be a good year for Kanu if he is integrated into the first team. Some have made the argument that he isn't ready. I do think Kanu deserves a fair shot, you know, because the season that he's just come off at academy level is stupid. I mean, yes, it's academy football, but you can't score 41 goals in a season and just leave him there. You know, we've got to at least integrate him into the first team in terms of, you know, cup competitions or even coming off the bench a few times. He did come off the bench a couple of times at League One level under Johnny Jackson, which of course is very good for him. I mean, Kanu, he's come off the back of a ridiculous season. You know, he's 18 years old, just signed a pro deal. And yeah, I honestly expected him to be part of the first team, and I thought he would travel with the team to Spain and be involved in the pre-season friendlies. But unfortunately for his sake, he hasn't been, and I am quite surprised by that, to be honest with you. Like I said, some people have said he's not quite ready, but he's bagged 41 goals at academy level, man. He's had an unbelievable season. We've got to at least give him some minutes before it's too late and a Premier League club comes out of nowhere like the Mason Burstow situation we had last year and he's gone. I mean, you can't score 41 goals at academy level and then just turn your shoulder, turn your head, look at him and just go, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Because there is a player there, you know what I mean? There is definitely a player in Kanu. Now we jump into the top 3, and as I alluded to, the third place player is a player that is in the same position as Daniel Kanu, but there is also a question begging as to whether this player is also ready. But to be fair, in the pre-season games he has played, he's been given a chance, and he has seriously impressed. I, of course, am talking about Miles Leeburn, Carl Leeburn's son. Honestly, he's been really impressive in pre-season so far. Seriously, he's really been impressive. Obviously, he's travelled with the squad to Spain. Obviously, Leeburn has been given a chance, unlike Daniel Kanu, who, like I've said, I would have thought Kanu would be given a chance. But no, Ghana has decided to go with Leeburn. And to be honest with you, rightly so, because Leeburn has been absolutely fantastic, particularly in the last 2 games against Dartford and Colchester. Of course, he scored 2 goals against Dartford, got himself 2 assists against Colchester last night, and also scored as well. The goal, by the way, was really composed, really good. Obviously, piled on the pressure on the Colchester defence. They gave the ball away. He picked it up, went round the goalkeeper and just slotted it into the back of the net. A really good finish. And obviously, the assists, the flick onto Gilby's goal was superb. And he obviously got an assist for Albert Morgan's goal, played him in really well as well. Obviously, with Leeburn, in terms of pre-season, he has been played in a number of positions. He was played on the right-hand side against Dartford in the right-wing position, and he seemed to cause Dartford a handful. Yes, of course, it is Dartford playing in the National League South, and yes, the other club that we played yesterday was League 2 Colchester, but nevertheless, it's still very impressive, and he is obviously knocking on the door when it comes to getting into the first team. Obviously, if we saw in the interview in the South London Press recently, Thomas Sandgaard said there's not really any pressure to sign another striker when we've got Miles Leeburn coming into the frame. The names surrounding him, obviously, Carl Leeburn, absolute Charlton legend, and there's going to be a lot of pressure. I do kind of think we need another striker because, to be honest with you, I just don't think Josh Davison has got it. That's just my opinion. Obviously, Chucksanike and Stockley are way above that at the moment. Obviously, Stockley up front, and the Chucksanike has been played a fair few times as a number 10 and even in midfield, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, Leeburn, he's been very impressive so far, and hopefully he can keep that up. Obviously, we've got Sutton on Saturday, and the following Saturday after that we've got Swansea. Leeburn's been really impressive so far in pre-season, and hopefully he can keep that up because I definitely do think there's a player there. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we come to, and I may get this stat wrong, but I believe the youngest player to make his Charlton debut since John Joe Shelvey. It is, of course, the free kick maestro, Aaron Henry. He has, of course, been involved in the pre-season friendlies so far. And again, I really do hope that he does get a couple minutes. But then again, our midfield options at the moment are looking pretty stacked. You know, we've got obviously Fraser, McGrandles, Falls-Takaski, we've got Dobson, Clare who can play in that position, even Sessignon can feature in that position, Gilby, Morgan. So Henry is probably, in terms of natural central players, our 7th choice at the moment. So you could probably say Henry could do with another loan spell. Of course, he spent last season, again, like Clayton and Barker, at Wealdstone, featuring 20 times and scoring 2 goals and getting 2 assists assists. I believe one of those goals was actually a free kick. Obviously, if you've seen various videos from the academy, you've seen that Henry does love a free kick, and he is really, really good at dead ball situations. He also featured 3 times in the Papa John's Trophy for us as well this season. So he's got himself some decent minutes. Whether we decide to loan Henry out again to a higher end club at the National League or even to League Two, I don't know. But yeah, Henry is definitely down the pecking order, but there is no doubt there is a player there. Of course, like I said, made his debut at 16. He was the youngest, I think he's either the youngest player to play for the club ever or the youngest player to play for the club since John Joe Shelby, because I know Shelby had that record, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, definitely think there's a player there in Henry. I do rate him really highly. It's just a case of him being way down the pecking order in terms of the other players that we've got. So hopefully he can get himself some minutes, but if he is loaned out, then I'm not going to complain whatsoever. But coming in at the #1 spot for the player that I think could break into the first team, and to be honest with you, I think he definitely will. Spoke about him earlier on in the video with Nazir baccarin. He, of course, is the centre-back partner to baccarin and last year's League One Apprentice of the Year. It is, of course, Deji Aleraway, and I genuinely do believe this is his year, and I am honestly, I'm happy to have him as our 4th choice centre-back this season alongside O'Connor, Winnis and Lavelle. I seriously am, because he played a few games last season, obviously at League One level. I think the best that I saw from him, ironically, was when we lost 2-1 to MK Dons. You know, it wasn't a great defensive display, but Aleraway came on, and I was really impressed with him. You know, he came on, he looked fairly comfortable, you know, the same like Charlie Barker, 17 years of age, and just looks really comfortable on the ball, looked very good defensively, and obviously has done really well at academy level. I watched him yesterday against Colchester. Again, I felt he showed those qualities. You know, he showed that he is quite good on the ball, good passing ability, and yeah, I'm happy to have him as our 4th choice centre-back. I honestly am. I am honestly happy to see him get some minutes this season, because I think he deserves it. He is definitely very young and up and coming, and probably one of the next big things we've got coming out of the academy. I do seriously think there's a player there, and I'm hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, I'm hoping that Aleraway is going to be strongly involved in the team this season, whether that be he comes off the bench a couple of times or just get some minutes here and there. There you have it, guys. There are my 10 Charlton Academy players that could break into the first team this season. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, can you possibly leave a like, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and turn on this post notifications so you are notified of every time I upload a new video. What do you guys think of my list of players? Let me know in the comments below. Who would you put into this list if I've missed anybody out? And do you think these players that I've mentioned, these 10, could they get some minutes this season for Charlton? Let me know in the comments below. This has been Tyler Roninson. Have a nice day, and I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all then.